Hello everyone, NinjaNick333. We are here with the Japan Championships. This is the Paldea Evolved format. We're finally getting into that format here. As of time of recording, we're about a week out from it being legal. We do have a Kyurem deck here on the left versus a Lost Box deck here on the right. Should be a pretty favorable matchup here for the Lost Box player. Usually they can just, hit into a Kyurem pretty easily with Cramorant, and Kyurem has to expend quite a lot of resources just to get going, so we'll have to see. Lost Box, of course, goes first. In Japan, they are pretty favored for the Giratina version, even though that's not really the best version of Lost Box. So I am expecting that to be here, especially since I see those Grass and Psychic energies here. So Grass Energy in a Lost Box deck almost always tells you that there is a Giratina in there. I like to see the Water Energy as well. That means we probably will also see Radiant Greninja. One of the best consistency options in any deck in the current format. Just be able to discard any energy from your hand in order to draw 2 more cards. Looks like he did open with that, so that is in his hand. We're going to go ahead, do that concealed cards, getting rid of a Water Energy. Perfectly fine. You probably won't... Greninja is actually a really good attacker in this matchup. So if you have the Giratina V-Star, you're never going to be able to one-shot a Kyurem VMAX. So what you can do is you can set up a Greninja in order to damage 2 Kyurems at the same time. That way, your lost impact with your Giratina V-Stars will be able to take a one-shot from there. So that 90 damage being super beneficial. So we'll have to see if they are able to get into that. So we do start with double Kyurem. The Kyurem deck takes... a lot to get going, because you have to get multiple Kyurem VMAXs into play, and of course those are 3 prized Pokemon. 2 of those are knocked out, and all of a sudden the game is officially over. Even just 1 Kyurem V along with 1 Kyurem VMAX, if you are playing something along the lines of Sky Seal Stone, could even end the game there, because you could take 4 prizes on a VMAX instead. So we're going to see the Adventurer's Discovery, actually a really good supporter that not a lot of people play. It's usually best in Arceus decks, because you still have access to your Starbirth afterwards if you are still short on cards. Most of the time you want to be playing supporters that draw you cards, but this Adventurer's Discovery just searches you 3 Pokemon V. So you can go ahead and set those Kyurem VMAXs in your hand for the next turn. Since this player is going second, they can play a supporter on their first turn. Unlike the player who did choose to go first, the very first player who goes first in the match does not get to play a supporter card. So looks like we are... How do we get those energies in play? Oh, the first attack of the Kyurem V. I forgot what that exactly does. I think you could just attach water energies from your hand. So, Kyurem V's first attack is called Rapid Freeze. Attach any number of water energy cards from your hand to your Pokemon in any way you like. So, looks like he had 3 total energies in hand, so he was able to attach 1 per turn in order to be able to attack, and then went ahead, used that attack to get 2 more energies in play. So that is a pretty good turn 1 here from Kyurem. Not much more that you could really expect to get. I think a deck like this would probably want to be playing something along the lines of Bibarel. Another thing that made the Kyurem deck so good previously was the fact that it had Oranguru. But Mr. Monkey Wisdom himself has been banished from the game. He was rotated out, so there is no way to stack what the top card of the deck is. You would usually use that ability to put a water energy on top of your deck, swap that top card out. So you would draw a card, put a water energy on top, and then Kyurem VMAX's ability will mill the top card, and if it's an energy, you can attach it. So guaranteeing the fact that the top card of the deck is a water energy. So as soon as that rotated out, Kyurem VMAX completely fell out of favor, so I'm a little surprised to see it here. Although this is day 1 in a Japanese tournament, so a lot of these players kind of throw whatever they want at a wall and see if it sticks. So, of course, this Lost Box deck on the right having a pretty great turn. They were able to use a Chorus's Experiment to get a couple more cards into the Lost Zone, as well as add an additional 3 cards into their hand. And as you can see, their hand is fairly large. All they really did was, you know, get a few cards in the Lost Zone and then pass. There was no attack, no Cramorant we see yet. A lot of Lost Box decks only play one Cramorant as opposed to multiple. So, probably just didn't see that. Did get this, the Manaphy down, which is really good because you should expect your opponent to also be playing Radiant Greninja. So if the Kyurem deck is able to set one of those up, which they can off of Palkia V-Star's V-Star power, they can get 3 energies into play right from their discard pile to load up their own Radiant Greninja. So it is important to keep that Manaphy in play. So hopefully on a future turn, this player on the right will be able to find something along the lines of a Clara or a Super Rod, newly reprinted, in order to recycle that Manaphy and get it back into play before that Radiant Greninja comes into play. So we are going to see the Chorus's Experiment yet again is going to Lost Zone 2 more cards, put another 3 cards into the hand, and we're going to go in with the Flower Selectings, 1 or 2 of those. Looks like we do get the old art of the Super Rod off of this Flower Selecting. You love to see that. That was printed in like a set called like Dragon's Majesty, I want to believe, a little bit before I started playing. It was a holo rare in that set, which was great. They have reprinted it a few times since then. None of the rarities have really been holo since, but we did get a nice hyper rare one in the new set, Paldea Evolved, which is really nice to see. I opened like 350 packs of Paldea Evolved on live, and I did not pull a single secret Super Rod. Although I did pull 5 secret Superior Energy Retrievals, which was nice. I guess if I'm going to pick one over the other, I would rather have the Superior Energy Retrievals. So, we finally see the Giratinas going down. I think they were being held in the hand, waiting for the perfect time to put them down, potentially. You don't want those to get bossed up too early, because they are a little bit hefty, and of course give off 2 prizes. So, waiting until the turn where he can put 2 into play might be a little bit better. Pretty disciplined there. We also see these jet energies coming out. When you attach that from your hand onto a Pokemon onto your bench, it does become your active Pokemon. I'm not sure if that's a choice. I'm gonna jet energy. Yeah, it is mandatory. Yeah, so if you attach it to the bench, it is mandatory to switch it to the active. But that's what you want in a deck like Lost Box. You attach that to your benched Comfey. It is forced active. You can use its Flower Selecting and then even retreat it with just that jet energy. So kind of the closest thing to a replacement to Scoop Up Net that was rotated out that we can possibly have right now. Just another way to switch cards. You could always be playing your 4 switch cart as well as your 4 escape rope, and then still have some jet energies to spare. You can even attach those jet energies to a Giratina and do a Mirage Gate, and that is a fully powered up Giratina in 1 turn as well. So we see the milling here from the Kyurem. It's just going to discard a cross switcher. Another mill is going to discard that Radiant Greninja, so that is really bad for this Kyurem player. I do not expect this player to be winning this game. So the Comfey does get knocked out. The Kyurem player is up 2 prizes now. So we're going to have to see Mirage Gate come out this turn, otherwise this player on the right is hurting a lot. They are finally at 10 cards in the Lost Zone, so even if they're playing something along the lines of Sableye, they will be able to use its attack as well. So Sableye would be another great way, besides the Radiant Greninja, to set up some extra damage onto those Kyurems so that you are able to finish them off with the Giratinas. So I'm going to assume an attack from the active Giratina this turn to do 280. Maybe next turn try to find a boss's orders to do it again to the other Kyurem VMAX. Make it so your opponent cannot play Roxanne on you because you haven't taken any prize cards, and then come in with either the Radiant Greninja or the Sableye to finish the game. taking all 6 prize cards in one turn. So being able to avoid the Roxanne turn is pretty beneficial, especially for a deck like Lost Box, which is very heavily hand reliant. You usually spend multiple turns building up a big hand, and if you get Roxanne to something like 2, it's a pretty bad time. The only thing now is, even if you are able to escape the Roxanne turn, you can still be Iono'd. Iono is a new card that was printed in this Paldea Evolved set that allows you to put both players' hands on the bottom of the deck and then draw cards equal to your prize cards. So very reminiscent of N that we had in multiple previous formats. It's kind of a way that Pokemon uses, tries to balance the game, because taking prize cards is a very imbalanced mechanic. In most games that use cards as a life source, you will actually see the opposite person take those cards. So if you're losing and you get hit, you take one of those cards that are on the side as your life. So games like Digimon, Dragon Ball Super, Kaijudo, Duel Masters, all of those would always use mechanics like that. And completely forgetting that Giratina V-Star has a V-Star power of its own. They're at 10 cards in the Lost Zone. You can just say your opponent's dude is dead. So that's what he did to knock out the first Kyurem VMAX. So not fearing the Roxanne, I think that's perfectly fine, especially with Iono now in format. So now you just need a way to get through the second Kyurem. I think that has too much HP to just slap down a Choice Belt and take the knockout. I'm pretty sure it has more than 310. Yeah, it has 330. It just popped up on screen. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Pokemon Japan. I appreciate it. Yeah, so if you were to attach a Choice Belt to the Giratina, it would only be doing 310. So you're still going to have to take one more 3-prize knockout in order to win. And now here's the issue. So you spent like one too many turns just passing and not being able to set up a Giratina or something. So now you're in a situation where if your opponent just has the boss's orders and uses their, well, I guess they already used their V-Star power, but another way to set up that Kyurem, they could just one-shot your Giratina V-Star, and then they'd be able to win the game. So now the Giratina Lost Box player finally does find that Cramorant. This is the perfect turn to actually hit in with the Cramorant, and all you need by next turn is a Mirage Gate, and you will be able to win. Looks like we do have that in hand already. If I were this player, I would be trying to get as much energy back from the discard pile into deck as possible. Looks like we are replacing the opponent's Primal Altar, which is probably the worst stadium card ever printed, in my opinion. It just lets you look at the top card of your deck and choose to discard it. I mean, I guess it's not the worst thing in the world, but like literally every single other stadium in the game is more playable than that right now. It allows you to look at the top card of your deck and see if it's a water energy, to leave it to mill it with the Kyurem. But, I mean, otherwise, it just seems bad. So we are actually seeing the Roxanne come out of the Lost Box player. And that's going to make it so this Kyurem deck only has 2 cards in hand, 3 after their draw for turn. So what's the likelihood that we're going to see another Kyurem get powered up, or this same Kyurem that's active powered up? I don't think that it's likely at all. So even though it seems like he could just, you know, boss his orders and win the game, I think that this Lost Box deck is still exactly where it wants to be. So we are seeing the Super Rod shuffling in up to 3 in any combination of Pokemon and basic energy cards from your discard pile into your deck, choosing one of each basic energy color, using the Mirage Gate to get those energies into play. And that's pretty much all you need here. So you have a fully powered up Giratina. You're going to hit for 110 now. That's going to leave the Kyurem with 220 remaining HP. You already have a Grass Energy on the active so that you can retreat it next turn. puts down a Sableye, even if maybe Radiant Greninja goes down. You could use the Sableye. It's not relevant right now, though. Probably just playing it down just in case you get Roxanne or Ionode. It does not go back into your deck, so perfectly fine here. So again, what does the Kyurem do? I mean, they could knock, if they get powered up and don't have the boss, they can knock out the Cramorant without having to discard any of the energy, but they go down to 1 prize card remaining, and then the Giratina V-Star just comes up and knocks them out. So, using the Kyurem's ability just to mill a Force Seal Stone, has just 1 water energy and another dead card, it looked like, in their hand now. Really nothing they can do because they already had to elect to use their Kyurem's V-Star power. And seeing another mill there. One of them was from the Primal Altar, the other one was from the Kyurem. So really nothing they can do. So just passes the turn, and here comes the retreat and the lost impact for the knockout, taking the game. So it was a little bit close, but the Kyurem deck kind of runs out of steam sometimes. The fact that it has to discard its own energy like that. But of course there are, I think that this deck would be a lot better now with Baxcalibur. You could always use that in order to deluge some water energies from your hand into play, kind of like the Blastoise decks of old. But if you're going to do that, you might as well just be playing Chien-pao anyway. So chien-pao, just the better version of Kyurem in this format. So hope everybody enjoyed. Do not forget to comment, like, and subscribe, and all of that good stuff up above. And we will see you guys next time.